All right, guys, we're going to go back and forth between worksheet 3 and 4 a little bit because we left some stuff blank at the bottom of 3B. I'm actually first going to do the first problem on 4A just because it's all nice and that'll get us back in the swing of what we were doing on Friday. Okay, you have your pink sheet out. Anybody remember what the general form we could write above this would look like? If I could write. Good job. Yep, Y. The Y always goes with the K and the X with the H. Okay. Now, so what do we know right away? What's H? H is 1, K is 2, and if 4P is 8, then P is also 2. All right. So the vertex is at HK or 1, 2. Now, if this had an X squared, it should open either what? If the X is what's squared, it should open either up or down. Okay. P is positive 2, so that means it's going to open up. Now, a P distance of 2, if this is the vertex, conceptually that means 2 units up this way is our focus, and 2 units back this way is our directrix running side to side, yes? Okay. If you wanted to use the recipes, what does it say for a recipe on there for finding the focus when it opens up or down? Gotta have your pink sheet out, guys. Don't be asking me the day of the quiz, where is this on the pink sheet, okay? You need to be using this every time. Okay. So if we put those numbers in, we'd have 1, 2 plus 2 or 4. Is that where it looked like I plotted that when I went just straight up 2 units? Okay, so that seems all right. The directrix is y equals k minus p, which would be 2 minus 2, so I get y equals 0. Does that look like the equation of the line I drew right there? Okay. On the quiz, there will be blanks. It will say vertex blank, asymptote blank, or sorry, directrix blank. Okay, because otherwise people go, do I label it on the picture? Do I write it over here? What do I? So there's actual question that asks for it. Okay. The last and hardest part is we need to come up with another ordered pair. So if we pick an X value a couple units away from the vertex, maybe over here at X equals 3. I'm just trying to figure out how wide this thing is. Okay. So if I put in a 3 back in the original equation, it will say 3 minus 1 squared equals 8 times y minus 2. 3 minus 1 is 2, squared is 4. I need to divide it by 8 and then add 2. So we'll get what? 2.5. So at 3, it should be up 2.5. So it's pretty flat, right? If I went to this way, it'd also be up that much because it has symmetry with that axis of symmetry that I didn't draw. I did pretty good on my parabola, though. What would the equation for the axis of symmetry been? Does anybody know? Yep, x equals 1. Good job. Axis of symmetry, vertex, focus, directrix. Got all the important pieces? Yes, I just picked a number. I like to pick a couple away from the vertex so we can figure out how wide it is. But yes, you could pick x equals 0 just to find out where it crossed. and it just came out, a lot of times it'll come out really ugly. I just need an estimate. Because everybody's going to pick a different point, it's going to look just a tiny bit different, but basically this shouldn't be super narrow that's crossing the y-axis up at 12, right? As long as you're getting something close, I'm going to be happy. All right. Before we do this question, I want to flip back to the other worksheet for a second, and I want to review some more finding equations. Towards the end, we skipped a couple, didn't we? Did we skip number 5? All right, number 5. Thanks. Emma, this is for you. On number 5, we know the vertex, so we right away know H and K. That's good news, okay? The vertex is at 2, 5. This is on worksheet 3B. We skipped this one on Friday. I just wanted to go back and review a little bit. Did you get a green sheet? Okay. I forgot to give you one. And then the focus is at -1, 5. Oops, not +1, 5. Sorry, my bad. Got that crazy graph paper again. What do you know about this if the vertex is over here and the focus is over here? It is a horizontal parabola and it's opening towards the left. So P should be negative if it's opening left. And it's going to be a y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h kind of parabola. Now, conceptually, can we find P already? It is the distance between those 2 points, which is a total distance of 3. It is going left, so we're going to have to remember that P is probably going to turn out to be a -3, right? Now, I want to talk through the recipe because I know a lot of you would be like, I don't know what to do, okay? I would take and write down my focus is at -1, 5, and the recipe for a focus when it's opening sideways is H plus P comma K. And the vertex of 2, 5 just tells me H and K. So to find P, I would have put this together and said -1 equals H plus P, but I already know H is what? -1 plus 2, or I'm sorry, -1 equals 2 plus P. So then I get -3 equals P. Everybody okay where you could have just used the recipe from the sheet to find that? All right, I think we're done. Can we write the equation? Y minus what was K squared equals 4P, which would be, and X minus 2. I don't really care about anything else on the graph. Is it all right with you if we just write the equation? 8 was the other one we didn't do on Friday? Okay. So a quick review of one of these. This doesn't give us the vertex, which is kind of weird. But does anybody remember the rule before I even start drawing? If I had a parabola, the vertex would be where in relationship to the focus and the directrix? Exactly in the middle, right? So the distance P is the distance here, and it's the same distance here that takes me to that directrix, which I drew kind of far away. All right. So if the focus is over 1.5 and up 1, and the directrix is at 1/2, they're really close together, right? But the vertex is still in between them. Anybody want to guess where the vertex is? Looks like 1, 1, right? But let's actually write down which way is this going to open. It says here to the right, but we could have figured that out, yes, because it opens away from the directrix, correct? All right, so when it opens to the right, let's write the general form down here. Y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. But the focus is supposed to be h plus p comma k, and the directrix is supposed to be x equals h minus p. So if this is 1.5 and 1, and this is x equals 0.5, what do I know? Easy one right here is what? K equals 1. The other is a little more confusing. Can you watch this real quick, and then I'll give you a second to write it down? If these add up to this, you'd have that. If x is 0.5, I'd have 0.5 equals h minus p. I got a little system I got to solve here. I add those together and I get 2h is 2, so I get h is 1. I plug it back in. 1 plus p is 1.5, so p is 0.5. Wasn't it a lot easier to use the concept on this one than the recipe? Okay, halfway in between those was 0.5. Okay, so, or was a distance of 0.5, so p was 1. The vertex was at 1. I don't know what I'm trying to say at the moment. All right, so I got h is 1. All right, so who wants to plug it all back together for me? I just really want the equation. I don't even care. Whoops, I know it's going this way. I don't care how wide it is. What is it? Four p, or 4 times a half, would be 2. Okay. So not knowing the vertex is a pain in the neck. And that's going to be true on the next worksheet too. Are you ready to switch back? Okay. Number 2, first of all, this is not in a form that we're happy with at all, but it does have a y squared, so the form I want eventually is going to be y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. That makes sense? Because it's got a y squared? Okay. Now, I will tell you that this is honestly already a square over here, but I'm going to pretend it's not, okay? Because I want to show you the way you would do this even if it wasn't already perfectly squared. Remember how we did when we had circles and we had an x squared and a y squared and a minus 2x and a plus 6y equals something, and we rearranged stuff? Okay. We're going to rearrange so that we have the y squared and the y, and we're going to put a blank. And so I'm going to move this 9 over to the other side. I know it's ridiculous because I'm going to end up with a 9 there in a second, but just humor me. Minus 9, minus 9. This side becomes 3 minus 12x. All right, so complete the square on this side, and we get half of this becomes plus 3. Squared is 9. Big surprise. So we got to add 9 back over to this side. Now, when I write this side, I'm actually going to write it more like this. I'm going to write negative 12x plus 9 this time, because then we're going to have plus 12. Just kidding. Because we had a 3 there and a 9 there. Because to finally get it in this form, we need to do what? Yeah, we need to factor out, what can we factor out? We need it to be a plain old x, so we need to factor out the negative 12. So what will it say when I divide out a negative 12? Okay. All right, so what can you tell me? What's h? H is 1, and k is -3, and that's the vertex. All right. If 4p is equal to -12, then what's p? Okay. Which makes this parabola open? It would be down, except that it's a y squared, so it's going to be left. So 3 units this way is where I'm thinking we should find our focus. But we can use the recipe. What's the recipe? When it says y minus k, the recipe for the focus is h plus p comma k, which would be 1 plus -3 comma -3, -2, -3. Is that where I put my focus point at, guys? Is that -2, -3 right there? Yes, you turned out okay. Okay, the directrix formula says x equals h minus p, which would be x equals 1 minus -3, which is 4, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? Why is that a good spot for that? Because it's 3 units back this way, right? The same as 3 units this way? Okay. Can we pick a point? I'm going to be lazy and just put it in this original equation. Look at the equation right here. If I put a x in, I'm still going to have a y squared with a y. So it'd be more fun to put in a y, I think, and then we'd only have an x to solve for, yes? So pick a y value. -3 is not going to work. It's going to be... If we picked a couple units away from the vertex, like I said before, we could pick -1 or -5. What do you want to pick? Could even pick 0. Should we be lazy? Let's put in a 0. The answer is going to be yes. Okay. So if I put a 0 back in here for all the y's, guys, what will it say? So I'll have 9 equals 12 minus 12x. 9 minus 12 is -3. Divided by -12 is 0.25. So when x is 0.25, y is 0. So right there. Okay. I did a pretty good job of hitting those dots. All right. Let's try another one. What do you want to do first on number 3? Got to rearrange some stuff. Okay. X squared plus 6x plus blank equals, if I do minus 21 over here, good job. Okay. 89 seems like a really random number, but we're going to do some completing the square and adding stuff first. So I think we'll be okay. Oh, if I could write. All right. They're not very creative. What are we going to do on this side? X plus 3 squared with a 9 again. Anything nice happen over here, though? We get -20y minus 80, right? So we can factor out the -20. Equals -20 times y plus 4. Everybody okay? I'm going to write the general form under here for those of you who like to see that. So what do we know? H is -3. K is -4. And P is what? -5. Anybody know what a p-value with an absolute value of 5 is going to make this be? Wide, narrow? Very wide. Yeah, very wide. Okay. So where's the vertex? And it had an x squared with a negative p, so it's opening. It's going to open down, yes. So 5 units, conceptually, 5 units inside there is where the focus is. Or if we use the formula for one opening down, it's h comma k plus p, which would be -3 comma -9. Did I add those right? Does that seem like -3, -9? The directrix? Sounds right. Y equals k minus p, which is -4 minus -5, which would be +1. Does that seem like 5 units the other side of the parabola? Okay. Now I did tell you it's going to be really flat. It might be nice to just find what intercept, guys. Is this ever going to have an x-intercept? Because it's opening down, right? It's going to have a y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we find x equals what? So we're going to put in x equals 0. If I go back way up here and put in a 0, it'll say 21 equals -20y. This will be a 0 minus 68. Can you solve that? 21 plus 68 divided by -20. -4.5 roughly, maybe? Anybody getting that? Well, that's a very rough estimate, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Close enough. Quite flat, yes? All right. Completing the square seems okay? We decided that to find one more point, we picked the y-intercept because it seems like that was enough away from the vertex. So the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So we put a 0 in and then solved, okay? Oh, we have to do this again? Oh, what are they trying to trick us with this time? I'm going to move, well, to be less confusing, I'm going to flip-flop the whole thing. All I did was flip-flop it. I didn't subtract anything. Now I'm going to subtract the -8y over to the other side. But what else is going to happen here? We either have to factor a 2 out, which is a pain in the neck when you're completing the square, or somebody said it a minute ago, can we just divide everything on this problem by a 2? So let's just make it divide out a 2. We'll have an x squared plus 10x plus blank equals -4y minus 17 plus blank. Is that okay with everybody? So can you work on this for a second and see what you get? So Emma, just make sure you look the green sheet over so that you know what you have questions on for tomorrow. All right, I skipped a step. Did anyone else get that? I added the 25 to both sides. Is that what you got? Was it 25 to add to both sides? And then negative 17 plus 25 was 8, but I took out a negative 4. So it was a -2. Did I skip too many steps? Okay, so if I write underneath this, x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k, what can you tell me? So negative 5, 2 is the vertex. And it's opening which way? Down, right? And the focus should just be 1 unit inside and the vertex 1 unit back this way. Does that seem right? Did someone else get p is -1? Okay. If we use the little recipes for one that's opening down, it's hk plus p. So we'd have -5, comma 2 plus -1, which would be -5, 1, which seems like where I have the focus at. So that was good. The directrix is y equals k minus p. 2 minus -1 would be y equals 3. Is that what I seem to have drawn here? The focus. Okay. How do you want to find a point? Do you want to plug in a 0? Do you want to find the y-intercept or the x-intercept? I'm a little leery that the y-intercept might be really low if it's not super wide, right? Might be crossing way down here somewhere. So if we want to find the x-intercept, we'd put in what? Ew. Then we're going to get a squared. Oh, we could put it in here, I guess. All right. If we put in a y equals 0, put an x plus 5 squared equals -4 times 0 minus 2. This is 8. What's the square root of 8 minus 5? -2 point something? Okay. What did we put in again? I forgot. Put in a y equals 0. So -2.20. Whoops. Yeah, see, I think the y-intercept would have been down pretty far, right? All right. Now the really messy ones. Oh, this one's not bad. I'm not even sure we care to do this one. We can do it really fast, but this one is easy because we know h and k, right? If we're at -2, +4 for the vertex and -2, +3 for the focus, what can you tell me? Okay. It's opening down. What else? What's the distance between those 2 points? P equals 1, except it's going down, so it'll be -1. All right, what if we weren't quite that quick and we looked at the sheet and we said, oh, look at there. The vertex and the focus have the same H value. So then we'd have the focus is H comma K plus P. Well, we know that this is -2, and we know this is 4, and we know this is supposed to equal -2, 3. So we could have said 4 plus P equals 3, which would make P -1. Yes, yes. All right, so somebody write the equation for me because we're just all done, but the x minus -2 would be +2 squared equals. Yep, we're putting in these, right? And this, everybody okay? All right. Now the misery begins. What? No, it's not yet begun. They don't give us a vertex, guys. When they don't tell us the vertex, we got some crazy business going on here. Yeah, maybe this is where the crying starts. Yes, no. I'm going to try to make it as easy as I can. If it opens to the right, guys, what's the formula for the focus? So this is H plus P comma K. So right away we know one thing. We know K is 1. And we actually know that H plus P is 2. Okay. I know that doesn't sound that helpful. Okay. The other thing we know is this parabola goes through this point. So I'm going to put 8 in for an X value and -7 in for a Y value. Okay. And what am I going to put it into? Y minus K squared equals 4px minus h. The problem is we don't know either h or p, right? We don't deal well with two variables. I would like to suggest that we make this say h equals 2 minus p. Okay, so what can I put in for y? -7 minus k. Do I already know k? K is +1, all right? So it's -1 squared equals 4. I don't know p. What am I going to put in for x? 8 minus 2 minus p, but I'm going to put that in parentheses because I got to distribute that minus because it's just evil or eviler and eviler. Okay, -7 minus 1 is -8 squared is 64. Over here I have 4p. Now, be careful. 8 minus 2 is 6, but minus a -p becomes plus p. It's not so bad now, is it? What can I do something to make this easier? Yeah, I can divide that 4 out. So I have 16 equals 6p plus p squared. How am I going to have to solve that? P squared plus 6p minus 16 factors p plus 8, p minus 2, p equals -8 or 2. What did it say in the directions that will help with this or in the problem? It opens right. Can p be -8? Nope. All right, if p is 2, way back over here, then h has to be 0. We are good to go. What's the general form? Here, we wrote it right there. I'm going to ignore this graph. I just want to come up with the equation. Y minus k was 1 squared equals 4p, which is 8, x minus 0, or you could just write 8x. All right, we're going to do one more of these, and then we got 2 super easy word problems. For once, the word problems are the easiest part of the day, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to bother to draw it. Did you really want to practice some more? I'm more worried about you coming up with the equation. We can use the graph this time if it helps. Okay, 1, 4 would be up here somewhere. It opens down, and at some point it's going to go through -3, 1. Now remember, this is the focus, so the vertex is further out here somewhere, apparently, okay? All right, if this opens down, the formula for the overall is x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. It is, p should turn out to be negative, yes. The focus formula is h comma k plus p, and we were told the focus is 1, 4. So right now I know h is 1 and k plus p is 4. You could solve this for k or p. I'm going to solve it for k, just because I think it's easy at the end when you know p. If you know which way it opens, it's easy to eliminate which choice works. It's a little bit harder. You got to think about where k could be to eliminate the choice of k. It's not that bad, but all right. And don't forget, we got an x and a y to put in. Okay, can you start substituting some stuff in and see what you get? Anybody else get p equals 4 or -1? Opening down tells me what? So p has to be -1. Which if I go back here, 4 minus -1 would make k 5. Which means our vertex, oh, it was 1 unit up. That's kind of 2 on this graph paper. Our vertex was at 1, 5. All right, let's be done. Plug it back into the form. I need to go back over anything for anybody? Okay, plug it in the form. We'd have x minus what? 1 squared equals 4p, which would be -4 y minus 5. Okay. 2 really quick word problems. I promise this will be the best part of the day. Oh, we got another one? Okay, just kidding. I don't think we didn't do more than 2 in the other classes either. All right, suppose the receiver in a parabolic dish antenna is 2 feet from the vertex and is located at the focus. So the focus is 2 units away from the vertex. That sounds like p is what? 2 or -2, but we'll see what happens here. Assume the vertex is at the origin and the dish is pointed up. So here's our parabolic dish. And the focus would be then at, okay, so what's the equation? Yeah, x minus 0 squared equals 4p, which would be 8y minus 0, or x squared equals 8y. We good? Because it just told us p is 2. All right, one more. What's going to change on this one? I think p this time should be how much right here? Yep, but it's going to go down, and we're going to put it at the vertex. So what's the equation of that bad boy? X minus 0 squared equals... Told you the word problems were the easiest part of the day. Okay, so you need to be working on finishing up the parabola assignment on page 428. And please look over the green sheet, because I'm going to start ellipses tomorrow, but I want to save time for you to ask questions on that green sheet. If you don't have any questions, then you're just going to be ready for the quiz. Okay?